Hello, Kenzie Elizabeth. Welcome to the Carly Dare podcast.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited because I feel like this has been a long time coming. Like it's my dream come true. So thank you for doing it.
You are glowing today.
Thanks. I have literally been following you on Instagram, I think since I was like 17 years old or 18 years old, like just way too long. So
what phase of my life was I in? Like, was I in college?
I don't know. Like, I think you were in college. I think you were in LA for sure. Just like vlogging. And I remember I followed like all that group of YouTubers on like loyally, but it like wasn't a thing to watch like YouTube videos where I was from like during that time of life. So I was just like different, you know? But if
it's crazy how much time we've talked and spent together, and I've never asked you that. I never knew. Cool.
Yeah, it was that. I know, that's what I'm saying. I was like, we've like worked together for so long, yet like I just like the connections are funny. But yeah, if somebody doesn't know you and they're from South Carolina in the middle of nowhere, how would you introduce yourself to them?
My name is Kenzie. I'm a 24-year-old lifestyle vlogger and podcast host. I'm right now about to start a brand that's coming up as soon as possible within the next few months. But yeah, I'm mainly a lifestyle vlogger and podcast host.
I love that. And I love that about you. Like, I just seriously am excited to talk today because something about like the way you present yourself online is so different than I think a lot of people out there right now.
Really?
So, you don't think so?
I mean, I would like to think so, but I think it's harder to see yourself as someone else sees you, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think you present yourself like differently, and maybe it's just because I like watch videos of you every day and edit them, and so I just like see that side. But I don't know, like I just think you have like a very honest like version of yourself. And something that I wanted to ask you about was throughout all your vlogs and podcasts, you have this quote that I think I've definitely like felt the repercussions of. You say like, everybody who's in my life, like I want their life to be larger or bigger. Like I've heard you say that so much, and I've obviously have felt the other side of it. Like I feel like ever since working for you and just like being a part of your life and your team, like my life's gotten larger. So
thank you.
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's actually gotten so much smaller.
No, actually it's been worse. No, it really has. Like, and so I wanted to ask you, like, where in your life or like, where did you adapt that mindset? Like, where did that start?
I think early days, it probably comes from my dad. And it's not something my dad ever said to me, but it was just, my dad is an ideas guy. I feel like anything I've ever come to my dad and said, he would be like, yes. Like my dad, in my dad's eyes, I could probably run for president. So I think early on it came from that. And I think naturally I've always been like a connector. I am like, oh my God, you would love so-and-so, or, oh, you should work here. Or I'm an ideas person. Like I think really big. So I think it's partly that my college internship, that was something that I think they said there, I'm assuming it was probably either a book to actually get the verbiage or from the internship. But yeah, I don't know. I've kind of always been like that.
Has there been somebody who's done that for you in your life?
Oh, I mean, so many people. I think the Boss Sticks are a really good example with Dear Media. Honestly, Dear Media as a whole, everyone on my team, I would say actually. Certain friends. Yeah, I mean, so many people.
That's amazing. And that's something I'm realizing too, like growing older is like, I'm learning to ask for help and like not even like in a, like, I need favors way, but just be like open about like, there's enough space. And I think this is something you kind of talk about a lot too, is like, there's enough space for everybody to win. There's enough space for like everybody to be successful. And I feel like you really see that in people. So yeah, I don't know. Another thing I wanted to talk about was like we mentioned in the beginning, you're very honest and like you're very like authentic. And I feel like that's how you are online too. Like, where did that come from? Like, you know, like.
Yeah, I don't know, because I kind of wish that I was a little bit more fake. I think I know I would do better on YouTube. Right. Honestly, even though on one end it's like, oh, YouTube does well because it's authentic. It's like, well, if I was the like 27 making videos for 12-year-olds, like, I would be faking it, but I would probably be doing better, you know?
Right.
So I'm like, I can't I cannot fake anything. I can't fake a friendship. I just can't do it. I have a really, really crazy network, I will say. And that comes from the podcast and from me genuinely becoming friends with those people, not because of what I can get from them or they can get from me. If we click, we click. If we don't, we don't. And like, you know, you don't click with every single guest. So I don't know. I think about like certain friends of mine who are just like big networkers, and I think that's great and like teach their own. Like neither is good nor bad, but like while I have a really big network, it's people that I genuinely like clicked with and connected with. I can't fake things like that. So I don't really know. I don't know where it came from, but I've always been someone like the people that I spend the most time with are people that I'm just fully myself and fully comfortable with. I think maybe it's because I see life, like the thing I hate the most is wasting time. Like I am not lazy. I hate wasting time. It's my biggest pet peeve. And I'm all about like being efficient. And like I'm not gonna waste my time in something that I'm just not myself in, that I don't see like lasting, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Why is it so like important to you to not waste time?
Maybe honestly, because I have anxiety. I think like that's really where it probably came from as a child. Like even growing up, it would be like early elementary school days. I would be out before my mom. I would make my own breakfast. I would be fully ready with my backpack on, sitting at the door because I was like so afraid of being late. Like I've always been that way, but also like I don't really have a choice. Like I do so much like work-wise that like I actually cannot afford to waste time. Like I can't just like lay around or you know, I mean, like obviously like I rest and like I'm intentional with that, but like I just have to be smart with my schedule. So I don't know. I think I've always been that way, but like I'm someone who when I'm a very like kind of all or nothing person, and that comes with like really negative sides as well. But I work really hard. I love really hard. Like my friends around me, I'm all in. Like I want to be the best friend, the best like family, like the best everything that I can be outside of even work. So I think it's just honestly more practical of like it's anxiety and also like I just need to get stuff done.
That's so good. I wish I had that. Like, I just feel like I was so burned out. Like I was like that when I was a kid, and then I just got super burned out from work that I just like needed so much time to recover that I could not like go further. Sounded like something just came crashing down in my house. But yeah, that's a really good trait, and that's like your anxiety working in your favor. And
that's what I'm saying. The anxiety is not always bad. Like I mean, it is not necessarily a good thing, but there are things. Jessa Hastings talks about this on my show, and she was like, you have to make it work for you. Like there are good parts of anxiety, and like honestly, I would not be anywhere near where I am in my career if it weren't for my anxiety. And while there's so many other really awful aspects of my life that it's like really derailed, I think, you know, like sometimes there's good parts and good aspects. Also with you feeling burnt out, like you also like, there was a pandemic, you were graduated with 17 degrees at such a young age. Like you do so much.
Yeah. That's why I was like, it's okay that I feel like this. Like I didn't force myself to do more than I had to. Which I think was good. But yeah, you are like super successful for your age. You're 24 and you're like having this career since you were like 15 or 16 years old, which is crazy. I wanted to ask you if there was a time in your life, like maybe when you were young in LA, where you didn't kind of see the end. Like you were just like, what am I doing? Living in uncertainty, and you had to like push through. Like, is there a moment that you were like, I can't give up? Like, I see that this is going to work. I don't know how, but like, I have to keep going.
I feel that way all the time. Like still. Yeah. I think I feel that way more as I've gotten older than when I was younger. Because when I was younger, I think it was a combination of like I was naive and also I had less writing on the line. Like I was just young. Not that I'm not young now, but also even with you being like, oh, you're so successful. Like I even this week have been, and this happens every December with YouTube. Like I just am like, oh my God, no one watches my stuff. Like my channel's over, my podcast is over. Like I will catastrophize and thinking. And while I know that isn't true. Like, I will go from one end of feeling on top of the world, so accomplished, like I'm so proud of what I've done. And then on the other hand, I'll have a day, and I'm talking like this could happen in the same day.
Mm-hmm.
This was literally earlier this week where I feel like I've done nothing, everything sucks. Like, I just go back and forth. I think more specifically though, when I think about it, earlier this year, I had this big, like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm so confused. And it was like, I dealt with uncertainty more than I'd ever dealt with it in my entire life. Like, since I was born, I'm very tunnel vision, which is actually not the best thing to be at all. But I was very tunnel vision. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And so when I started my channel, there was just no way around that. And I was just like, this is what's going to happen. I get tunnel vision and that's it. And then I think I finally like looked up and like almost like got a breath of fresh air and was like, oh my God. And I'm not even talking career. I mean, like even just my personal life, like, oh my God, this is actually not what I want. Like, I think I built a career that I really like loved, but I also like my personal life, my life around me, just the things I was doing. I don't know. I was just very like, I'm not even uninspired, but I just wasn't fulfilled. I was very unfulfilled. And I only in the past, I think, month, I am the happiest I've ever been. And I'm at the best place I've ever been in my entire life. And I think it's because I really dove into feeling that way. And I don't have like I don't have an answer necessarily. I can like kind of go into what I've done. I go to therapy every single week. I read a lot. I'm really into personal development, but at the same time, I'm also really into just like relaxing, hanging out with friends. I have worked and been in school from 16 to 23, and I finally graduated last December. So I think this is my first year without school. And I invested so much more into my personal life than I ever have and into friendships. I've always been like a friendship person. I've always had really good friends, but I have invested so much into my friendships. Like even now, like I'm leaving today to go on a trip with friends. Like I just have spent so much time doing that. And I was like, that's what makes me happy. And also just kind of getting narrowed in on like what I actually want. Like I actually was talking about this in something I was filming yesterday, but like, it's so crazy how we think we have to like certain things based off of what everyone else likes. And like, this is such a stupid example, but this is what made me think of it. I was at a really nice restaurant in Dallas last night. And my favorite place to go is Chili's. Like, I actually do not care. I am way more down to earth and low maintenance than I think anyone would ever expect just because I have like followers on Instagram. I don't really care about like nice restaurants. I like nice things. I'll go to a nice restaurant. Like, but it's never going to be like, I planned it, you know, like it's a friend's birthday or something. And I was just thinking more about how like over the past year, I've just come so much back to myself and also into my own. And it's like, I love Texas. I love being in Texas. I love country music. I love like, I love reading. Like I really only pay attention invest into things that like bring me more fulfillment. And over time, I think the uncertainty kind of went away. And I don't know, I think I'm like going on such a rant, but like dealing with uncertainty is something that you have to actually just sit in and feel really uncomfortable with for a while. And I think I was there for probably like 6 months and in a weird phase, and it got better and then it got worse. And then, you know, whatever, it was kind of a roller coaster. So like now I feel a lot better. And I'm also not like putting as much pressure on myself to have an answer by a certain time.
Right. I love that. And I've been feeling the same as I've gotten older on what I'm interested in life. Like, I just feel like growing up in a bubble almost kind of like makes you feel like you're supposed to think a certain way or behave a certain way, or you see people that you look up to and what they did to be successful, whatever. And so you're like, oh, maybe I should like these things in order to become that, whatever it is. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely seen like layers shed where I'm just like, I don't even like this anymore. And I love how you talk about how it's okay to change your mind so much, because it's just like, I'm not the same person I was like an hour ago. So I think it's okay. And I think like it's fun to be in that freedom of like, I can be bold in what I like right now. And like, that doesn't mean that I have to like that forever. Do you feel like, I know you talk about this a lot, but like with the internet and with like posting things you enjoy online, like you have to be held to that for longer than what you're actually interested in your real time life?
Yeah, I feel like almost the ways that I was at maybe like 21 are people will still hold me to, or like the things that I liked and the things that I thought I wanted. And every single person changes their mind, and that's really normal. Being on the internet, I think it just adds another layer of people like holding you to someone that you no longer are. And that can be really frustrating. It's just one of those things where I've had to just like stop caring. But yeah, I feel like you say you like something on the internet and it's like it's like marked in cement and it dries and that's there forever. Like you can't change your mind. And that's annoying, but I don't know. It's like people forget that people that they watch on the internet are also just the exact same as them. Like I have friends as well, like from college and from growing up. I've been friends with the same people. All of them are normal and went to colleges with a lot of people who watch my videos. Like I'm one of those people. Like those are my friends. That's me, you know? And for whatever reason, people just put these people on the internet to like some sort of like different level to where I don't know. It's just like stupid. I'm like, if you're not changing your mind, that's more concerning.
Right. Cause it's just like, who are you doing it for? And like, it's just like, why do you care so much about like being held to like that?
Or also like maybe grow. Like I feel like if you're not changing your mind, that means you're not growing either.
I agree. Like, it's just like, why do you want to be stuck in a mindset from like 2002?
Yeah.
That's something I love about you as well. And is like, you're very future oriented. Like you're always like, first of all, trends, like you're always like the first one to adapt to a trend. You were the first one to like, I think I saw to adapt to like Geneva and stuff. Like, I feel like you see like things early and you like catch on to it.
It's so interesting that you said that because someone else said that to me the other day, and I would actually never say that about myself.
Really?
Yeah, like they're like, you're really good with trends. And I'm like, in what world am I good with trends? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because when I think trends, I think like TikTok trend.
Oh, yeah.
So like that's I think with like Geneva and stuff too, I definitely think that is like the future of I think just building communities online. Like you have to. But that's just something that I've like loved so much, and like that's always been like at the core of my online presence is community. So yeah, but I don't, what do you mean in trends? Like what do you think?
More like fashion, like more like
okay,
like fashion, also people to watch. I think you can find people who are like gonna grow or going to be like a big person in a certain industry, and like you kind of like see their future almost. Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get that more. Yeah. I just am like so, so Gen Z.
Yeah.
That I only think of TikTok. But yeah, I think that more so. But a lot of my style and like I just love clothes anyways, and that's a lot of it. It's like influenced heavily by the internet.
You always talk about identity in your work being like such a thing that you were held to when you were like, I think it was my age. You always talk about like this time of life. And I'm like, okay, that's like literally my whole personality is like work, because for a certain amount of time in my life, like for the past like year and a half, like I didn't really have a choice in terms of like working as much as I did, because I saw like into the future and I was just like, I want to live in LA and I know that costs a certain amount. Like I want to move and live alone away from my family, and like I have to make like certain sacrifices and decisions like in order to like do this. And I just got a job, and it's like literally like breaking a generational curse for like my family and just stuff like that. And I'm excited to kind of venture away from like the workaholism into more of like, oh, like tonight I'm going to my friend's comedy show. She's a female comic and I get to go watch her, and just stuff like that, like being able to like go out and like actually have a personality and like invest in like new friendships that I haven't been able to pour into here. Like, what was that transition like for you? Like from like workaholic to like investing into your relationships?
It was a really long process because one, I want to say like there's a time and a place for everything. Right. So there was a time where I would say my friends say this to me all the time too. Like I really gave up my years from like 16, honestly, to probably 23. Like I even graduated high school early. I moved out. I worked so much. I didn't do like the normal college experience. I went to college, but it wasn't a normal experience. And then I went to like an even more intense, insane college. So like, I don't know where I got that idea from. Right. But it was just like, yeah, I think like that was my time, and there will be other times, like next year I will be working so much more. I'm looking at my calendar already and I'm like already stressed out about it. But there was my time was to put in all that. And I think that because I did that, I'm like reaping a lot of the benefits now, like where I have definitely had a way healthier relationship with my work schedule this year. I've made the most money. I've done the best, but that's also 8 years into my career. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a time and a place. So when I say like, oh my God, don't do this, don't do that, like, no, there is a time where you have to just put your head down and you have to sacrifice and give up things. And I did that. Not that I won't ever do that again. There are still things I sacrifice naturally with anything in life. But I think I noticed I had more of a problem. I think I actually like legitimately was like, this is an issue. It wasn't even like, oh, like I think, I don't know. I don't even think I realized at the time how bad of an issue it was. And again, there's part where, you know, you have to do that and that's where your time needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I dealt with any problem that I had in life by working. And that was the difference. Like there is a time where you have to go and put your head down and work is your priority and that's all you do. And then I, from a very early age, realized that working was my ticket out and my freedom to where I could get out of a circumstance that I didn't want to be in anymore. And so instead of dealing with my feelings and my emotions, I went to work. Whereas some people would go to like alcohol or drugs, right? So I was probably like 21 by the time I was like, okay, I really don't like this. I'm so anxious. I feel like my whole life revolves around this. My anxiety was so high. I just like didn't feel good. I didn't like the life that I was living. And it was really like a slow burn of then I went to like an in-person college and that helped as far as creating boundaries and just also taking my identity away from like what I did and also like building a life. And I would say, honestly, it was this past year, 2021, of actually building a life that I like on top of like a career that I love that really took it away from me because I am with normal people all the time who like don't put their lives on the internet, which like to me, that was my normal for so long. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, that's what I do. But it's honestly really helpful when you're not with people who are doing the same thing as you because it's just not even top of mind. That's like honestly, with my friends now, I don't even talk about work ever. Like they all bought Red Wedding Housewife merch and they're like, oh my God, we're gonna wear it tonight. And I'm like, that is so like that's not normal for us. Like we don't even talk about it. So I think it was really a slow progression. And when I started, I would have loved to say like, oh, all of a sudden, like I have this figured out and perfect and whatever. And I don't know. I think there's always like a fluctuation. And it took a long time. Now I just have better coping skills and mechanisms than just work. So I think that was my biggest issue. But yeah, I mean, I finally got to the place where I could invest in other things.
Yeah, that's really good to hear because I often hear that because there's so many people online that are like, make sure you prioritize your rest. Like there's this huge like mental health movement, which is so important and true, like Sabbath, that's important. But also like there's a time and a place. Like if you first of all have a certain goal or you just like need to do it to survive, like put your head down, work. Or if you're building a business or something, like you have to really press in the first year, 2 years or so, whatever it is. What is like the O kind? Like, cause I saw the Geneva of like the pinstripe. It's like actual clothing. This is exciting.
So that's not our clothing that I did in there. That was just prints, but it is clothing. It's going to be, I don't think I've said this anywhere. I can definitely say this. It's going to be like matching sets.
I love that.
So, but it's not sweats or anything like that. Like it's like elevated, really cool. And we'll be doing, as of right now with like the plans, obviously like shipping right now is just awful. I think we're putting in our order this week. So hopefully as soon as possible. It'll hopefully we're like March-ish, we'll see for launch, and then we'll do different drops. It's really exciting. Like it's been way more serious. Like the tags are being sent to my house. We were on the call with manufacturers this week and like saw them. So it's getting very real. We're like buying stuff to put in my garage until we get an office. Like it's getting very, very real. So hopefully soon, but it is clothing.
That is so exciting. I'm excited. I want to be like your first customer.
It's very exciting.
Yes. Okay, cool. So you're doing this clothing brand. What else are you like excited for in the future? Like, who are you becoming?
Okay, who am I becoming, or like building a brand, like building like my brand?
Just like you as a human, not like work.
Got it. Okay, so me as a human, honestly, I'm really excited in the next year. What I am most excited for is like career stuff. I'm like was thinking about this. I turn 25 next year, which is so crazy.
That's crazy.
I cannot believe I'm that old. Like it actually is mind-blowing to me. My friends and I, like, none of us are dating. I'm like, what are we gonna do? Like I have no interest in dating, but like I don't want to be single at 30. So like I have to figure that out. I don't know. I'm just really, I think for the first time, I am just so content with where I'm at and who I am, who I've become, and like just life in general, that I'm not necessarily like striving for something. I think like now that I'm just finally in a good place, I'm definitely going to do a lot of like trips with friends and stuff. I don't know, but like for me as a person, I feel like I just have gotten through such a difficult, confusing period of time that I finally feel so good and confident and content with who I am, that I just feel good. Like I don't really feel like I need to, like, I'm obviously still like reading and like whatever, but I don't feel like I'm like jumping onto things. I feel like I'm just in a good place finally.
That's amazing. That's the best place to be at, because constantly striving is exhausting.
Yes.
It's exhausting. Yeah. No, that's great. I'm excited for your future. I'm excited to keep up with Kenzie, and I'm just thankful for like this job. And like I feel like usually people like get annoyed with like, I feel like I would have thought I would have gotten annoyed or like triggered by like editing your stuff every day, but I don't. Like I honestly,
wow, that's good to know.
I know, like it's like fruitful. Like I get a lot from it. Like I enjoy your content, and it's amazing. So I'm just excited for what you have in store for the future. I can't wait to buy a matching set. And yeah, like I'm just excited. I know you mentioned too that you wanted to like write a book in your future, which I love. Before.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that at some point. Like we'll see when that happens.
I'm excited for it. I think it will be a New York Times bestseller.
Thank you.
Well, where can they like shop the Okine, follow you on Instagram, follow you on YouTube, everything like that?
Instagram, Twitter, YouTube are all Kenzie Elizabeth. TikTok, Kenzie Elizabeth Hey. You can't shop the Okine yet. You can go on our website. You can go follow the Instagram. You can go on our website and sign up for newsletters, and then we'll keep you up to date there. And then you can shop. I have breadwinning housewife stuff. That's like a huge thing in the next year that I'm also still keeping up with.
Yeah.
shop.dreammedia.com/ILYSM. It's on sale right now. So.
Okay, everybody go follow her. She's great. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.